Welcome back to the Peptides for Women podcast. I'm Jennifer Woodward, and I'm so thrilled to welcome Jenelle Zingg to the podcast today. Whether she's guiding a wellness clinic through safe peptide implementation, advising a startup on educational strategy, or translating cutting edge research into real world application, Jenelle brings both the heart of a teacher and the instincts of an entrepreneur to the peptide game. She's committed to helping shape the peptide space into a pillar in the wellness industry. Welcome, Jenelle. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thanks, Jennifer. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Okay, we were talking a little bit before we
Can you
started
hear me?
recording. Barely.
Okay.
Yeah, you're definitely cutting out a little bit.
Hmm. I could
That's
move.
okay. My editor can kind of edit out what we need to edit out. So, yeah, if you can
Okay.
maybe get somewhere with like a bunch of bars.
I have two bars. Let's see. Hmm. And being in the sun is not going to be good, but I only have two bars, it seems. Oh, three. Okay, so I'll sit here.
Yay. Okay, great.
Okay,
Great. Thanks for
I'll grab
looking.
my drink, then I'll sit here. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me grab even stuff. Okay. This is the spot. Yep, three bars. Okay. I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, you
back
good?
to two bars. Can you hear me?
Kind of.
I'm only getting two bars, Jennifer. Hmm,
Okay. Well, let's just try.
let me see. Okay,
Yeah.
now it went to one. That's not good. Okay, we'll go back to where we came from. Was it working for you before? Could you hear me?
Kind of on and off.
You can't hear me. Okay.
Let's try that. Let's just
Um,
just grab a spot to sit, and we'll just try it, okay?
okay.
It's probably
Okay.
good if you're not walking around while you're talking.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's try this again. Nope. Wait till you're done taking a sip there. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Janelle, I'm so happy to have you aboard. Welcome to the Peptides for Women podcast.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So we were talking a little bit before we started recording, and you grew up an athlete. So tell me some of the sports that you played and what you loved about being an athlete when you were younger.
Absolutely. Um I grew up in Wisconsin, and so we were outdoors a lot. We would swim in lakes and um, Lake Michigan, and I played volleyball, basketball, and softball. So that was really what excited me about going to school. I liked learning, but I don't think I really loved learning until I got more into college and I could choose my subject matter. So it was really the team sports that made me excited to go to school, see my friends, be active. And I just have kind of identified as an athlete for most of my life. When I moved out to California from Wisconsin, I started meeting with some people just that I met on a meetup group, and we started playing beach volleyball together. And it was such a wonderful community of people. We were sort of misfits. We were, some of us had just moved to town. Some of us were going through like major life changes, like maybe relationship breakups, and just the new friendships that formed were wonderful. And that's actually how I ended up meeting my husband, was on the beach playing volleyball. And I would pinch myself because I just couldn't believe that it would be November or even Christmas, and we'd be on the beach in the sunshine playing volleyball when I was used to, bundling up and, looking at my breath. And so, yeah, um, I've always thought of myself as an athlete.
So
Um,
even as an adult, you have just loved being active. You love taking care of yourself. Obviously, once you moved to California, you love being out in the sun. What did your nutrition look like as an adult while you were exercising so much?
so I didn't actually purposefully um, eat protein like I do now, but for the most part, I was eating, I would say, what was kind of a balanced uh, plate. I guess I would always eat meat. I've always been a fan of vegetables and fruit. Um, the thing that I didn't know then that I now know is that I was always experiencing these huge peaks and valleys in my blood sugar. And so I would feel I was that person who I was probably just hypoglycemic and didn't know it. But I was that person that needed to eat every 3 hours, or I would get what people call hangry, and very uncomfortable and shaky. And so I was that person that always had like a snack with me. But I guess that's probably later in life that I even realized that I needed snacks. And especially with motherhood, I was like, oh, I'm packing snacks for my toddler. I'm the one that needs the snack just as much as he does. So I think like my nutrition was pretty good. And especially like as a single person, um, I didn't learn how to cook until I got married, really. And so I was always looking for convenient, quick things, but they were, pretty healthy. I had kind of a go-to where I'd buy a rotisserie chicken and put it on a salad and maybe throw a piece of bread or something in there, but lots of fruit, lots of vegetables. Um, I think more the challenge came when I got into a relationship with my husband. And then when we got married, he likes tortillas and watching TV and watching movies and spending more time being sedentary. And that didn't serve me at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be hard to have a healthy lifestyle when you're a newlywed and you just want to pal around the house and have fun in this new relationship and relax a little bit. So, did weight gain start happening after you got married?
It did. It did. I know I went from like 165 was my healthy weight, and I went up to 175. And I believe I was like around 180 when we got married. And then I recall like my pregnancy weight was 205. And that was really toward the end of my pregnancy. And then just to kind of finish off the weight gain, my highest weight that I know of was 236 pounds. And that was about a year and a half ago. And that would be at the age of 46.
And how tall
And
are you?
I'm 5'10", pretty tall, and broad shoulders, like kind of an athletic build. I've never been a small person, even at my healthy weight. I'm a size 10. Like that size 10 is a healthy weight or healthy, you know, for me.
Yes.
So, um, yeah.
Okay, great. And also, same sister. I'm 5'11" with a healthy athletic build. So I definitely know what that's like to, fluctuate at weights that are sometimes like higher than the dudes around you. You're like, oh boy, I better rein it in. But it's hard to do that when you're a woman in perimenopause and you didn't know you were in perimenopause and you didn't know that your hormones were fluctuating. You had a good friend come in and kind of speak some truth to you. So tell us briefly a little bit about that story.
Oh man, I'm so grateful for my friend Jen. Actually, her name's Jen. Yay, Jen's Unite. She looked at me and listened to me say, I can't get rid of this weight around my midsection. It's so annoying. I can't move the way I want to move. I think like my I have kind of two rock bottoms. One was hiking with my husband and my son in Idlewild one Christmas. I could not keep up with them. And my son was 8 years old. I'm like, how can I not keep up with an 8 year old on a hike? This is ridiculous. It wasn't a challenging hike. And I said to my husband, why am I like, I feel like I'm sucking air. Like I can't stay at the pace that you guys are walking at. And my husband he's a biologist. He just sort of like, he didn't laugh, but he just said, oh, it's your mitochondria. And I was like, what? He said, oh, it's your mitochondria. Like they can't keep up. They're not very healthy right now. And that was eye opening to me. And then I also looked at the pictures of us that we took sort of at the base of that hike. And I just, in my mind, the athletic body was not what I saw in that picture. And then the other rock bottom for me was when I started going to my gym and they took video of me walking into the gym with my son, and it wasn't really a walk, it was more of a waddle, because that was when I was at the highest weight and I just wasn't even like moving like myself. I'm also a salsa dancer. Like a waddle is not the walk. I'm a booty shaker, I just, so to see myself waddle up the steps into the gym, um, it really kind of broke my heart. And I knew I was in the right place. I was in a gym with this amazing support, and it was a place that I wanted to go. I felt welcome there, even though I wasn't at my goals yet. I knew that there was like a path for me, and I trusted the owner of the gym and I trusted the trainers there to just guide me on this journey. And just to go back to that, my friend Jen, in my mind, I'm always an athlete and I'm always like 35 years old. But she was like, no, actually, you're in your 40s and this is when things start to change and you need to get some hormones on board. And she mentioned the Women's Health Initiative study and the flaws that were involved with that data and the sort of, made up fear around um, bioidentical hormones for women. And she just was like, look, Jenelle, this is the science. I'm going to send you some studies. I have this compounding pharmacy that I love. You should check it out. Here's my telehealth provider who's very fairly priced. Go have a visit with her. And it just so happens that she actually has this group that every month they get on a call together. And so she's answering their questions and it really has like strong community vibes. And so that was huge for me. And basically she really looks at the symptoms that we were describing. And then she's also incorporating the blood work. But the thing that I didn't realize was I didn't know how many symptoms I was actually experiencing until I looked at the health inventory that's even just on their website. Like, are you experiencing dryness? Are you experiencing brain fog? Do you have trouble sleeping? Do you have your same energy level throughout the day? And it was just like check, 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 check. And and maybe this is where I can help other women. My idea of perimenopause and menopause symptoms were like hot flashes and low libido. And I was like, I'm not having hot flashes and I don't have low libido. So I'm good. And it was like, no, I was not good. In fact, I was starting to like, I've worked with Alzheimer's and dementia patients in the past. And I was like, I think I may be on the road to dementia. I can't keep appointments. I, forget the names of things and I can't get through a checklist of things I need to do during the day without huge distractions. And so it was a real wake up call for me to be put in touch with someone who could listen to my concerns and also look at the blood work and really help me get the hormones on board that I needed.
So what
And
hormones
so,
did you start? Now
so
let
we
me ask you,
started,
wait, sorry, let me ask you again. Sorry. So what hormones did you start?
so we started with estradiol in the form of a patch. And I thought I needed a higher dose. So I tried a little bit of a higher dose and that wasn't good. it made me very emotional. So I dropped back down to the original lowest dose. And then when, of course, if you're a woman who's menstruating and has a uterus, you need the progesterone to go with the estrogen. So I got on 100 milligrams of progesterone at night before bed, taken orally. And that good, but my sleep still wasn't dialed in. So recently we've added another 50 milligrams of progesterone. And then my favorite has been the testosterone. So that has just been amazing as far as like what I can do in the gym with my workouts. And I think there's a really powerful element to the testosterone regarding sleep. Um, and I just know that when it's too high, I start to get some acne around like my jawline. And there does seem to be a little bit of like hair growth in undesirable places, but like my chin. Um, so, but other than that, I mean, the hormones did make a huge difference. So, yeah.
So helpful, especially for someone who really didn't even know that there could be a hormonal fix to a lot of the symptoms that she was experiencing. And I think so many women in perimenopause, it sneaks up on them. They think, oh gosh, am I just getting older? Are these symptoms normal? And then they go to their doctor, and their doctor says, yeah, your lab work is normal. You are just getting older. There's really no help for you. And so women just kind of fall into a pit of despair. And so for you to have this clear path out with regards to hormones and lifestyle is a huge blessing, but you were still struggling with the weight. So let's talk about what it looked like when you added in a GLP-1.
Yeah, and just to say too, part of that journey was adding a little bit of desiccated thyroid because my naturopath, my other naturopath, the female was the one that helped me really get the hormones on board. I had a male naturopath who I was working with, and because I couldn't get that abdominal fat to go away with the workouts I was doing, I suggested, even though my thyroid levels were in what was considered normal range, it was looking a little bit sluggish. So I started taking a little bit of just 30 milligrams of desiccated pig thyroid, so Armour thyroid or nature thyroid. And then I knew I felt a difference with that, but it wasn't enough to like make huge changes as far as the body composition and then the weight as well. And so I actually I was doing the workouts for 6 months. I had my food very dialed in. I was really prioritizing protein, getting lots of fiber, um, taking aminos. And the owner of my gym said, Jenelle, you're working so hard. You're consistent. Have you considered adding a small dose of tirzepatide to your routine? Because I really think it could, be that spark that ignites the changes you want to see. And being the researcher that I am, I researched and researched and talked and learned. And finally, a really close friend said to me, Jenelle, why don't you stop talking about it and just do it? So again, I have these wonderful friends in my life that and I did because I felt like I truly had informed consent around it. I knew what, potential side effects could be. I knew that I wanted to take a low dose of it. And I have another friend who's a naturopath trained in Australia. And she said, instead of taking the normal 2.5 milligrams, and she actually started taking it with me. She said, why don't we start at 1 milligram? Your body's sensitive to things, right? My body's sensitive. Let's just start with a low dose and ease our way into it. And I said, great. I love that idea. So we did that. And I honestly, I felt a huge difference with even just that 1 milligram dose. In the first 2 weeks, I lost 10 pounds of what I believe is water weight and inflammation in my body. I was so inflamed. Um, Even with the healthy lifestyle I was leading, my hands were sore, my knees hurt. And I took my first dose on, I think it was October 10th or 11th. And that was a Thursday. By Saturday, I was diving for volleyballs on the beach with my friend's daughter and not thinking, oh no, my knees, it was just like back. It was like somebody gave me back that old life that I had where I could be physical again and active. And I mean, I thought I was a super responder. I'm like, oh, I'm a super responder. Well, I just had a lot of inflammation and I really felt like I peed it out. There was lots of urination and I think it just left my body. Um, and I think what trizepatide has done for me is it's really healed my metabolic health in a way that I just really needed. I mean, I had become insulin resistant. I had worn a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, and I had watched how my blood sugar would go up and down. And I was able to then also wear one with the tirzepatide on board, and it was just a flat line of just consistently healthy, 80s and maybe 90s, but mostly 80s blood sugar. And it was just like it to me, it feels like freedom from the emotional and physical roller coaster of blood sugar. And yeah, it was amazing.
Yes, agreed, agreed. A little bit about my story. I hear that story with so many of my clients that something was missing in peptides, GLP-1s particularly, tirzepatide particularly seems to be one of those missing pieces for midlife women who are struggling with weight gain and inflammation. I do love how the research supports that inflammation is a driver of imbalanced blood glucose, is a driver of high cortisol, is a driver of belly fat and weight gain, and that particularly again, tirzepatide, yes, semaglutide will do this, retatrutide will do this, but we love tirzepatide for that blood glucose balancing and that, ability to really blast through belly fat and midlife weight gain for women. It's been amazing. So what are some of the things besides beach volleyball that you can do now as a result of having that lowered inflammation? Have you gone on a hike with your family since then?
Oh, yes, yes, plenty of hikes. And actually, my endurance is so much better. I can do a more strenuous hike. We actually stopped in Catavenia and hiked up to these petroglyphs, and I jogged part of the way. Like, I didn't run, but I jogged up the mountain. And about 3 days a week, I do a pretty flat hike that's an hour and a half long, and I just have sustained energy. um, I When I do yoga, my belly isn't in the way of certain poses like it used to be. When I hug people, and this is huge. I'm a hugger. I hug people, and I don't do the like skeleton hugs. Like, I get in there, and I felt like my stomach was basically like separating me from actually hugging people. And so I just feel like I'm able to connect with people. And I, it, the way my clothes fit, I just to be able to put on clothes. And we recently moved, so I'm going through boxes of clothing that haven't fit me in a long time, and I'm putting them on and just really surprised at how well they fit. And just even my shoes are looser on me. And yeah, it's just I really feel like I've been given my life back. And because I for most of my life was someone who was at a healthy weight, I spent those 9 years as an overweight person. I guess maybe as an obese person. Although you can tell, like, that doesn't, it's even hard to say that because it doesn't feel like it fits, even though it probably did. Um, I just feel like I thought, because I had tried so many different things, and I felt trapped, and I felt like this was just the way I was going to have to accept my life to be. And the trizepatide was the basically the key that like opened the cell, uh, so that I could be the person I was, and have my life back the way that I wanted it to be, like, and not just a long life, but a lot of the things I wanted to do, like the quality of life was back. So that's just been huge.
That absolutely is huge, getting your quality of life back. And you had a great story for me before we started recording where you walked by the mirror and you were kind of shocked at what you saw. Do you want to share that with the audience?
Um, I recently was in a hotel room just getting dressed and putting on bra and panties, and I just looked at myself and I realized, oh my gosh, you look healthy again. Like my waistline has come back, and I I was so happy, and I said to my husband, "Look at me, look at my body. I'm in a healthy body again." And he was like, "Yeah, like great job." Um, but it's interesting how our minds how need a chance to catch up, in the same way that I wasn't seeing myself as an overweight person, because in my mind I was an athlete. It's like to do the reverse of like, okay, I'm back. I'm back to where I recognize myself, and there's an adjustment there too. So um that's the fun part of the journey, is those wins, or those non-scale victories, right? Like like there's a glute machine I do in my gym, and you strap into it, you pull this seatbelt sort of thing across your waist, and it seems like every time I go to do it, that belt gets tighter, and like I'm getting small and my waist is getting smaller. And so those are the gauges that, because I'm not that focused on the scale. I'm much more concerned with like, and I love that this is where we are, heading toward as a society, instead of that like thin um, goal of thinness or smallness. But I'm so strong. I'm stronger than I've ever been in my life. I'm very well muscled, because I've been strength training throughout this whole process. In fact, I was strength training before I brought the trizepatide on board, and that has been such an advantage for me. I think not only metabolically, but even just psychologically, because I'm not getting this like loose skin effect. I'm getting defined. And, if we were on video, I would flex for you right now. But it feels so, so good, Jennifer. Like it just feels like I'm alive and I'm thriving. And I love it so much.
I can see it in you and I can hear it in your voice. And I also feel the same way myself. So I completely understand and I just love it. Let's quickly walk through what your day to day looks like. What does a normal day of eating, drinking, and supplements look for you today?
So I'm getting up, and I'm hopefully doing some red light therapy before I get out of bed, and doing a short meditation, just to kind of get the mindset right for the day. And then if it's the weekend, I'm going to the gym, or I'm meeting a friend for a dance class, or going for a walk with a friend. So definitely like incorporating movement throughout the day. I try to do at least two sort of intentional movements. Usually one is like a walk or a swim, or riding my spin bike. And then the other thing I is some type of strength training, and I strength train twice a week. Um, and in perimenopause, I feel like there's a balance between the strength training and like looking at cortisol, and like getting sorry, getting adequate getting adequate recovery in has been something I've started to prioritize more. Just recognizing what my body needs. And it's interesting throughout my cycle, I'll notice sometimes I'll have more energy and sometimes I'll have less, and just trying to pay attention to what my body's telling me as far as like, yeah, you want to strength train, even though I might be menstruating. I feel like I have the energy and the desire to strength train versus certain times of the month I'm just like this I want to like curl up and maybe do some yoga or stretch. And so just kind of like paying attention and honoring what my body is telling me it needs in the moment, and being flexible. um the food is like, I feel like it's a full-time job because I do have the goal of eating 160 grams of protein a day. And so that means like a 4 egg omelet for breakfast. Um, I take creatine and a green powder supplement. Um, I use aminos to either give me 25 grams of protein it like right after a strength training session if I can't have food right away, or at the end of the day if I kind of like tally up my protein in my head and I'm like, oh, I have not gotten close to my goal. It's a really easy way to just bump that number up a bit before bed. And it also tends to help me with sleep. I think it is sort of doing something to help balance the blood sugar. Um, yeah, I'm eating a lot of chicken and fish and beef, vegetables, fruit, um, not a lot of bread. I have a tortilla that's made out of cassava flour in the morning with my omelet. I do use a whey protein powder, and I get another 30 grams of protein in, along with the PB Fit powder, which makes everything taste good. I also put that in my Greek yogurt to increase the protein. And just, I don't know what it is. I feel like with tirzepatide, I have very specific things that I want to eat and then things that I do not want to eat. And when I put that peanut butter powder in the Greek yogurt, it feels much more enjoyable. And I think one of the misconceptions, somebody said to me the other day, oh, we were sitting down to eat, and she's like, oh, you don't need to eat, you're on the shot. And I'm like, what? It's actually the exact opposite. I need to eat. I need to eat very regularly. I'm not documenting my food officially, but I'm definitely keeping track in my mind of my fiber and protein. I feel like those are the two most important things. And I'm absolutely eating. And I've probably never eaten so well. And the cool thing is I'm still enjoying it. Um, I think that's a misconception. So yeah.
Yep. Very, very cool. Now, just to be, balanced, did you experience any side effects when you went on your GLP-1?
Not really. There was dry mouth. And so I still, to this day, I carry my water bottle around with me. It has electrolytes in it. Um, I don't want to be without it. But I can do my hike. I do my hour-and-a-half hike without water with me. And then I'm just very thirsty after. I did notice and I've always had what I believe is a pretty healthy digestive system, but I did notice in the beginning, as I believe from titrating like from 2 milligrams to 2.5, I believe there was a moment that I felt like my digestive system working, or it was just it was uncomfortable in one moment, felt sort of like indigestion, and then it passed. It was very quick. It passed, and then ever since then I haven't had anything like that. And I don't know if it was maybe just something that I had eaten, but that was when I was still learning what foods you do want to eat and what foods to avoid. So for me, it's been anything very sweet and sugary, even if it's made at a Halloween gathering and it's homemade. if it's really super sweet, it doesn't go down well. It feels uncomfortable, even on top of a healthy dinner. Um, and then the other thing, I think I ate like 3 or 4 pieces of bacon and I regretted it. Um, and then the other change I've made is I wasn't drinking very often, but the trizepatide just makes me not want to drink at all. And I really like that. I think as someone who's worked in the field of addiction in the past, I'm very excited about that potential to help people. So um, yeah, that's what food and drink look like these days.
Fantastic. And I hear a lot of similar things from, my clients is that their taste actually changed. For me, that was very similar. I feel like my body wanted less dietary fat, which was
Mhm.
great because I realized I was probably eating too much fat and wanted healthier foods, like a lot more lean protein. I'm obsessed with fruit right now. And, vegetables are just way more palatable. It's really encouraging to see how your body changes. Again, as inflammation starts to come down, glucose is controlled, and your hypothalamus starts adjusting to what is a healthy human diet. So I love that that is your experience too. And I'm so thankful, Jenelle, that you took the time today to come share your story with us. Enjoyed hearing it, and I appreciate you spending time to share it. Where can people find out more about you?
I am on Instagram at metabolic_mama with 2 M's. And I have a TikTok account. It is not out, it's not up right now because I've got, um, yeah, I'm
Okay,
working on
we'll
getting it
cut
back.
that part out. Okay,
And
let's start over again.
yeah,
Okay, let's start over again.
okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
sorry.
that's okay. Janelle, where can people find out more about you?
I am on Instagram at metabolic_mama with 2 M's. So that's probably the best place to connect. And I also have a website called Mama Ease. It's with 2 M's, Mama Ease. And that is my website that's all around motherhood and breastfeeding. And I'm transitioning it more to be like for postpartum and more health focused. So,
Love it.
yes,
And then what are your closing thoughts on peptides in midlife?
I I love peptides so much, and I feel grateful that I've had these great people in my life who have guided me and led me toward them. I think there's so much you can do with lifestyle and with hormones. I think having those things in place are really important. And then I also think there's value in using tools that support you in getting to your health goals. And that's what peptides have done for me. And I joke around that like whatever your issue is or whatever your goal is, there's a peptide for that. But I really believe that. I mean, um, and I am a testament to that. I just think like the GLP-1s for metabolic health are huge. You know, there are peptides that help you put on lean mass. There are peptides for sexual health. There are peptides for your skin, for like beauty, for healing old and new injuries. I just think the list goes on and on. And peptides for longevity. I feel like we're at this cusp of a really exciting stage where we don't have to age the way that our ancestors have. Um, we can have a much more quality of life, but also potentially longer lives as well. So it's just a really exciting time.
100% agreed. Well, thank you for that. Like I said, thank you for your story. Thank you for sharing where we can find out more about you. And thank you to everyone who listened to today's episode. This has been the Peptides for Women podcast with guest Jenelle Zingg. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.